someone's asking, why do I have these lighter and darker versions? It's mainly for my ability to see into dark places. If you look at this, I can't see all the detail that I can here. So it gives me a chance to build it, create a structure. Then if I want to be able to start adding, some color that gives it some body and covering those areas in, I can see that. Now there are places that are so bright we just don't really see it too well. So on the other end, I have a much darker print, which helps us see more detail in these areas we cannot see. And so I can choose. I don't want to have this become too light, otherwise it's just going to become, I'm not trying to copy the fact that this is just a lighter part of a leaf that doesn't have much detail. I want to have the detail. And yet I can still tell that one side is darker than the other. I can see the detail in the dark areas because it's lit up. Here's one that's lighter here. It's lit up. And I can see how that vein goes right in under the edge of that leaf. I can see how this is maybe a lot more clear than what I actually have it. And I can go ahead and adjust that. I can see into the dark areas and make sure that I know what some of that detail is. And like on this leaf, this almost gives me a better feel than this, except that I want to go that dark. If I go too much the same color, it becomes flat. And so I'm looking for all those variances to give me the opportunity to keep the contour, develop the depth, have things go to the finish line. You can see that there's even parts of the leaf back in here that I don't really see here at all. It's just not there. So I have all three. Sometimes maybe it could be overkill. I could probably gotten away with two. But I like to be able to show as much variance as possible. This also helps me be able to create that balance that I often talk about. And we can go ahead and show how dark something is by how it's contrasting with something else. I don't want to get too carried away and only follow this, or I'm going to have something that's quite dark and I won't have, maybe, let's just call it the excitement of having all those highlights that just liven it up. But on the other hand, I don't want to have this washed out and there's nothing there. So it gives me the options, and I can go ahead and continue taking that into consideration as I draw and decide, it would be nice to be able to include that. And so you see that there is one that is probably the middle reference, and yet it doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. And so I may pick a little bit out of the darker one and take into consideration what I'm seeing in the lighter one in those dark areas and enhance basically this balance even more than I would have, because I have a chance to see that full spectrum of color and detail. I have a full better idea what's in the dark areas that I sometimes can't see. It isn't maybe so evident on this particular project, but on a person's face, it's wonderful. I can go into the shadows often and I can pick up detail, which I want, because I don't want it to just be flat and uninteresting.